Hey guys, this is Zach, and here is my VFC barrel, inner barrel, and just to show down the line, you can see there's some rips and some tears. You can see that. So I need to replace the bucking. Get a little closer so we can see this. You can really see the little rips and tears. Put it up in the light. Yeah, you can really see the rips and tears right there. So that explains a lot why my gun is going left and right. See, the Hopup is fine adjusted, so they're going to the destination, but they're veering left and right. So I need to replace that. But the reason I made this video is because yesterday I got blamed for something I didn't do, and I wanted to prove that it's the blame game, basically. So here's my VFC scar taken apart. It's very easy to do. First thing you do on your scar, if you've got a VFC scar type, you will have in the front here of your VFC scar will be one of these, a gas tube. Now on this version of it, it's the SSR, it's right here, and in front of it is a little black tool that you can turn. That's this thing right here. It comes in two pieces. Try to find the other piece right here. Now when you turn it to you this way, you pull it out, you take off this extra piece that's with it, and it gives you a nice little screwdriver. Before you can screwdriver, you have to pop out this pin, and then you pull your gearbox downwards, and it comes right out. Very simple, very easy. Then the back of your scar will have the barrel still, the front rail attachment, and the back stock. You pull off the back stock by just pushing it down, and it comes off pretty easily. See, it's right here, just to show. Just slides off. You might have to hit it with your hand a little bit. It's a little stiff. That's a good thing, trust me. It's better than being loose. So use that tool then to unscrew this one, and the front here. You'll know they're different. You can see it's a star and this isn't. So they give you that screwdriver, which is really nice. Then you do that on the other side. Right there. And then the last thing you do is you pull out the back. Now to do this, you pull back your charging handle till you get to this point. There's a circle right here. See a circle hole? It's on both sides depending on where your charging handle you decided to have it located. You can switch them. You pull that pin out, you pull out the back pieces. Now the back pieces are right here, just to show where they are. Now you should have access to your inner barrel. You pull this up, well actually not the inner barrel, the rail to the inner barrel. You just pull this forward and up, and bam, there we go. Now this is, I've already taken out my inner barrel, but pretty easy to do. There is some very small hex screw right here, and on the other side you can see it right there. Yeah, the most right screw hole right there. Okay, so after unscrewing those, it holds your barrel in. You're able to pull it out, and then you look at your barrel here, and basically to tell if your Hopup is working correctly, you turn the wheel and you look up at some light, and if you see a little bump in the margin at the top, your Hopup is working. However, if it's stuck, no matter how much you turn left or right, see that little bump at the top inside where that black hole is? If you turn as much as possible and nothing happens, what you have to do, and here's a very good easy way to show it on camera, is the nub is right here, and it may be pressed down and caught. Maybe pressed down and caught into the bucking. And because of that, no matter what you turn the Hopup, it will still be the same because it's stuck. So you have to take this apart. It's pretty easy to do. I'm going to do it on my M16 just to show how to do it on an M16 as well. Might as well. But mine is torn, so I need to replace that. Don't think I have another bucking to replace it with right now. But they had the screws held in right here, so the thing couldn't go back or forth. It was real nice. This actually held in real nicely. A lot of them don't have that. Don't lose this spring right here. Some people lose that. If you lose that, it's pretty easy to replace. You just get a pin that has a spring on the inside, and you can put it there, use some clamp it on there. It would be very delicate. Also, to clean your barrel, you want to use an unjamming rad, and you wrap a little bit of cloth, some kind of tissue, around this, and you go up your barrel and around like that. It's pretty much swirling it. When you come out, you should get any residue, just to show that there was some on here. Let's see, there is some. Okay, so here comes the blame game first before we get into the M16. Now, keep in mind where your hop-up is, okay? Inside here. So, the only thing I touched in the gun when I was observing it was this thing. Pulled it out, put it back in. Has nothing to do with touching this. And if it had anything to do with it, as many times as I pulled mine out, would have done something. I pulled it out many times. The fact is, the air nozzle does not rub right against that nub bucking. So to blame that I had messed up the hop-up was absolutely nothing. Basically what probably happened was it was already messed up and the person didn't know, or the hop-up had messed up during a shot. So you can't blame me for that. Basically, if anybody can't tell from the proof there, that's plenty of proof. If I never even got near this and touched it, I didn't do anything. So the blame game's just going around because it's a new gun and I guess people don't trust me or whatever. But so we'll move over here to the M16 and I'm going to take it apart. Oops, somehow I knocked this over. I'm going to take it apart because it's got its pieces in there, and if I take that apart, it's already ripped. I don't want to mess with it until I get a new replacement to put in there. So, unless I can find one really quick. But let's just go ahead and do the M16 just to show, because I had this happen on my M16 a month ago, and my cousin loves this gun, and I wanted him to keep shooting it. So of course I just went ahead and fixed it. Very easy to do. You know, you have a hop-up issue, it's pretty easy to fix. Pop out this front pin, grab a screwdriver, if I can find the right one. Sorry for the angle, guys. Alright. So get the screwdriver right here. Usually this is a pin too, but for all cases in this one, it is a screw. Undo it. Now you know there's going to be a pin on the other side, so try to grab it. If you cannot, then you can pop it out. There it is. Alright, now on this gun, it does not prop like this. Some guns do. This gun comes forward. And usually the charging handle sticks to the top here. So what you want to do, let's see if I can do this one-handed, you want to do is pull this back. And my M16 has no function for this charging handle whatsoever. It's an older G&G series. So the only thing that opens is you have to open this with your hand. Basically have nothing to do with that, but I'm just going to push this forward, one-handed of course, somehow. There we go. Pull this back, flip it upside down, pull back the charging handle, and divide the gun. See right there where it gets caught? You have to get the charging handle over that. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. Alright. locked it back in there. Now just pull the two and divide them. Be careful not to drop any of them. Sometimes this thing gets stuck right here. You have to move it out of the way. We get stuck to this again. It's a lot better if I can just use my right hand. Alright. Now we have divided it. You can see the top had nothing to do with, like I said, it's just a spring going to a charging handle. Pretty easy, pretty slick. Now we're going to pull out the Hopup with the inner barrel. Check, see I put a pin spring because this one didn't come with one. And basically, they usually don't sometimes. You say usually don't sometimes because they should. The best way to have your gun shooting is the Hopup chamber up against the air nozzle. And the only way to do that is to have a spring that pushes it back. But for whatever reason, they have this all the way forward. I put a spring to push it back, touching it, which makes it shoot better. You get locked in, creating a great air seal. See that hole right there after the air nozzle? It's because this needs to go into it. Duh. So, prevent a little problem that I don't know why the design didn't have it, but now it works fine. Here's a spring that I didn't understand either. That spring was twice as long, so it was curled up in there and then came like that. I cut it because it was ridiculously long. Because this provides no function other than to come back and push it back in. It's ridiculous. Okay, so let's look at the Hopup. It's very simple to do. Let's put this down. And the first thing you're going to do to get in your Hopup, because you want to be very delicate, very careful, you can tear your bucking, is twist your Hopup. Excuse me, not your Hopup, your inner barrel, just slightly. When you do this, let's see if I can do this with my right hand. When you do that, twist it slightly, the locking mechanism right here, I forget what it's called, comes up a little bit, so you can grab it now. Put that to the side. Then you carefully, and I mean carefully, pull your inner barrel out. And what you want to do is like this motion. See the bucking's coming? Now if your bucking gets caught, you want to put your finger here and push it in. Make sure that you carefully do this. See how it's getting caught right here? Because you can tear your bucking and you will not be happy. Let me put this down for a second. It's a lot easier to put this down for a second. Two hands is what you kind of need. Oh, there went the spring on the ground. Yeah, where you're working at, you want to be very careful not to have any way of losing your stuff. This thing is not wanting to give. Yesterday it came instantly. Now it just doesn't want to come out. It's very agitating. What you gotta do is have patience, guys. Some people just tear it out and then they grab it with pliers. It's not the smart thing to do. Oh, another thing is this thing should come out by now. It should just fall. If not, when you start to pull this back, it will. This is a necessary thing to keep. Sometimes they don't come with it. I don't know why. The barrel can shift a lot without it. It's a definite thing I think that should be there. I think people, the designs and whatever, the designers are thinking some of these parts are not necessary, but you'd be surprised at how necessary that really is. And I'm sure people will try to disagree with me, but if you're going to disagree about something that makes the barrel stop from shifting while you're shooting, then you're an idiot, because you do not want it shifting. Okay, we'll go back to one hand right here. See if I can get this thing out. And the problem is the bushing, or excuse me, the bucking had moved too much. So what that means is no matter how much I pull it out, it's just not on the, it's not aligned anymore. So because of that, it's getting harder and harder to pull it out. Be very careful with it. Okay, here we go. Alright, let's see. Now these indentions, you're going to have to remember there's a line right here, and then there's the hole and 2 nicks. That's where the locking mechanism piece goes. The plastic. Okay, pull this out very slowly. Check it for tears and whatnot. Of course, I know it's not torn. See? It's in good condition. Now, some of these I have seen with a bump in them, like already a hitch like this. So because of that, it gives hop up automatically. See? In my previous M16, that's what it was. It was a G&G with a little hitch in it like that. So hop up was on all the time, and it was way too high. And no matter how much you turned it down, it didn't do anything. So what I did was I just got a regular. So it's completely circular. Completely circular. And that way you can adjust your hop up to what you want and not have to worry about having automatic hop up. Okay, to take this part's pretty simple. Unscrew this, pull this off, and pull this out. And then all these pieces are going to come out. Just trying to see if I could get that spring that popped out earlier right here. Put it there. Okay. So guys, I'm going to try to position myself so you can see this. Probably move for a second. It's probably easier to do it sitting. Alright. Alright. Okay. So we're going to unscrew this right here. Pull this off. Now there's a little, depending on your hop up unit, you don't want to lose that screw. You may want to tighten or not tighten this screw. It makes it easier to turn the wheel. Don't untighten it too much, and then the wheel will turn like crazy. There's a little O-ring right here. It's not really probably an O-ring, but it's a little cushion for this thing, so it moves a little nicer. Go ahead and pop this out. Another thing I want to tell you guys about being very careful is the nub that's on the inside here. You can't really see it. Sometimes if you flip this upside down, it will come out. Nothing's coming out, so it's probably in there pretty good, which is a good thing because you don't want to lose that while pulling that inner barrel. While pulling that inner barrel out, that can happen. You want to be careful not to lose it, otherwise you have to replace it. Now with my fingernail, I can get these off pretty easily usually. If not, I use a screwdriver. But I want to be careful not to break them. Locking mechanisms. There we go. Got one off, and then the second one. Now this wheel goes on. I'll turn that off in a second. This wheel goes on only one way. Get that real quick. Got all these things I have to do this morning with no time, but I want to make this video, so. Okay. I want to make this video for the blame game purposes and to show you how to fix your hop up properly if you're not knowing what you're doing. There's a lot of people that don't know what the heck they're doing. So we're going to take this wheel off, but notice that this wheel comes up a little bit. Let's see if I can show you. There's a little space between here and to the wheel, because the wheel has a little bit of space underneath it. It needs to come up higher and higher until it gets to the third wheel, because the third wheel is higher up. So let me go ahead and pull this off real quick. If I can get my fingernail inside it. There we go. Don't lose any pieces, guys. Alright, now start pulling off these wheels. See, there's two sides. The side with something on it, and the other side with nothing on it. See, a little thickness on the side. It's important to have it that way. Pop this out. Be careful, that little nub piece is going to come flying somewhere. Don't want to lose the spring either. There it is. Perfect. It's still there, see? Right here, this little black piece. Just around the little circular thing. And then you've got a spring. And I forget what the top piece is called. The thing that goes up and down, whatever. So here's the nub. Now what we're going to do is check it. It looks fine. The reason it's fine is because I already fixed this. And it wasn't the nub, it was the bucking. But basically, let's put it back together. Pretty simple. First thing you want to do is definitely put in your inner barrel, and we'll get that first. Might as well show every step of the way, right? So, this is important. One thing about messing with your inner barrel is the inside is very, very, very precious. That's why I had cleaned it on the other one. I've already cleaned this one before, but you usually check down the inner barrel, make sure that there's nothing inside. This one needs to be cleaned, so we're just going to go ahead and clean it. You can see dirt in there. Okay, so I see some dirt in there. Yeah, some super glue there. You're probably wondering what I'm going to use that for. Don't put that in your inner barrel. You'll be yelling every day when you go to shoot. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this around. And this is a very long jamming rod, this end. So just go ahead and put the tissue through. Put the tissue through. My hands are not delicate enough for this part. Literally. Come on, man. I don't need time wasted. My life is clicking with time wasted here. I'm just gonna have to fast forward this part unless I get it right now. Yes. Alright, so I got it through a little bit, and I just fold it over, fold it over, and bam, here's what it looks like now. Hold it, put it down the side that doesn't have the hole at the top. So this is the outside where the BB comes last, and it's a little too big, so I'm going to cut some of it off, or just rip it off. It's a little too big, you can't get it in there, so alright, here we go. Try this again. There we go. Got it in, guys. Now you want to keep turning motion as you're going down. It helps to get that dirt. Scrub, scrub, scrub. The reason you do a turning motion is if the tissue or paper or whatever, you should be careful not to use regular paper and tear this thing up. You want to use something very soft. But the reason you twist is because you could not be touching the inside of the barrel somewhere. Ooh, there's your dirt for the day. There's your dirt for the day. See that? See that dirt? Yep, that was a good reason to do that. Alright, pull it out. Look at it. It's pretty nice and clean now. Okay. Now is the point where you can put some super glue down it. Haha, just kidding. Don't do that. Alright, now what we're going to do is take this bucking, and you want the side that has the hole this time, and you want to look for the line. There's the line. It's a long line that comes from here to here. You want to match it up with the line in here. There's a little line piece, so you want to match it on for on. The reason being is so it doesn't twist and turn, see? Well, it does twist and turn, but it doesn't twist and turn very easily. It will stop twisting and turning once you get it in the Hopup. So push it all the way to the end, push it down a little bit further, and then back up. So you're locked in position. It's there. You should see the gold at the very end right here. I don't know if we'll be able to see that on camera. The gold is right near the black at the end, so you can tell by if you just try to pull it down very slightly, it doesn't go any further, then that means you've got it on there perfectly. Alright, now comes the next part. Grab your Hopup unit. Now the reason you do this first is because that nub can fall out in here, so it's smarter to do it this way. Turn this until you have the line again, and you want the line right here going across. So you're going to put this in very carefully. Try not to lose your nub moving. You don't want to move it. Once you start to kind of get it in, it really won't move out of place unless you do it really hard. It's just easier if I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Yeah, twist it a lot, like back and forth motion. There we go, and it's in. Bam. See the line right here? The line should be right there, coming across. And the way you'll know this, and that's all the way in, I'll push it all the way up. The way you'll know this is when you put this locking mechanism, plastic piece, it's not a mechanism, but plastic piece on, there's a line on the top of it, an indentation. So that's how it locks between this line and the two indents, is because it also has two indents there. Look at your barrel and the light. It looks perfect. Alright, next thing you're going to do is put the lock on. Bam. Check it out. Make sure it clamps on both sides. It's locked in there. Make sure. Alright. Next thing is the gold piece. I forget what it's called. Gold ring piece. Just kind of slightly pull that down in there. Now, if you got it on there, see it's flush with it, and you take your rod and you go up and down like this and it still comes off, it's not really coming for me. It means I did it real tight. You always use your fingernail of anything else. Don't use some metal, because you can scratch the barrel. Just make sure it's in there tight enough, because when you put it back in, what happens is it's going to push up against the barrel right here anyways and hold that in there, so you'll be okay. Now if you really wanted to and you're sick and tired of it, you could put some of that super glue. I'm kidding, of course. Do not use super glue. That was just there to joke around with. So we'll move this to the side. Now that we've got that part done, we can start reassembling it. It's pretty easy to do. You want this piece. Let's see this piece too. Alright, so we're going to use this piece, and the spring, and this nub. So there's 4 pieces. And carefully what I'm going to do is do this upside down so the nub has nowhere to go but inside. See, it's upside down. Basically creating it from moving. Hold this upside down. And the spring goes right here towards the front. So just carefully insert it, watch your nub so you don't lose it. And it's in there. Okay, then take this piece, depending on what piece it is. Sometimes people have different things for their Hopup. And make sure that you get it locking in the plastic. Kind of need 2 hands for this, sorry. Trying to be careful not to scratch my barrel. Alright, got it in. And you'll know by flip it upside down, barely move this. Look to see if your nub is coming down with it. And it is. See guys, right there. I don't know how well it is to see that, but there's a black little nub right there. So it came down with it. Now if you put some kind of a lubricant in there, what happens is that nub sometimes can't go up or down, so I don't put any lubricant with that. I do not mess with that. It simply goes up and down even without it, as long as it's a good fit. A lot of people suffer through problems just because they lubricate that. Alright, you want to put this in, you want to turn it to the left so that it locks. That's the furthest it will go. You can see this square piece right here of the gear is pointed this way towards the next gear basically. And so you want to put this one on. Remember, the little indentation goes downward so that it starts to come upwards towards the 3rd gear. And you want to turn this one just slightly into position for the other gear. There we go. See, bam. Well, can you see that? Hopefully pretty well. Need some light in here probably too. Let's see if that helps. Helps to see. Not really, because my hand's in the way and the light's not there. Okay, next piece is this one. Just push it down on there. Make sure the teeth clamp into each other. Otherwise, it's not going to do anything. When you go to screw it on, it's not going to help turn the wheel. Alright, check it a little bit. Wheels are turning. Tighten down the hatches, guys. Tighten down the hatches. Just put it snug for right now so you can figure out how tight you want it. Put on the other little locks. This is where I like to use something flat to touch it, because that way it locks on better. Let's use a hex. There's different things you can use. You can use pliers if you're very careful. I don't like to use a screwdriver because you start making indentions in the lock. And you don't need to do that. Make sure it's on there. Here, so the barrel will stop scraping on the outside. Make sure it's on there. Alright, other side. Oh. Don't want to lose it, guys. Don't lose your parts. Good thing I'm working on the countertop. Alright, push that down in there. Make sure it's locked. You want to make sure these don't come out while you're using it. So, alright. And the last thing to do is to put the spring in front and lock it on there. And then once you've done that, you can pretty much put it back in, but you want to check it first. So guys, moment of truth right here. Okay, complete open circle. That's what you want when your Hopup is off. Now we're going to turn it a little bit and make it on. And then look up at the light, and bam, see, it's working. Now I will turn this off so we can readjust it on the field. And another reason why I turn it off is to see if it goes down, so you have no hop. Otherwise you didn't do it right, or the thing has some oil and is not moving. See, perfectly bammed. Now I'm out of battery, so the first thing I'm gonna have to do is put this back together myself and edit this video. If all else fails, don't forget to use the super glue all over your hands and meld them together so you don't have to worry about touching your Hopup because you don't know what the heck you're doing. Other than that, guys, you can see I had nothing to do with that problem and being blamed for it, and it's very simple to fix. So I'm going to work on my EFC one once I get another bucking. Catch you guys later. Zach out with a fist.